Good evening, everyone. I am Mark, your fat friend,
And I'm James, your black friend,
and this is the Fat and Black Connection.
where we talk about anything and everything. Well, as long as it's interesting to you boys.
That's right. And tonight is a little bit different. You'll notice up in the top over there of the corner that that's not the Fat and Black logo. Tonight we've got a special show on tap for y'all, where we're going to be primarily focusing on a Murphy's Inc. Now, before we get into that and start going into what that looks like and means for tonight, James, it's still live and interactive broadcast.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, I'll tell you what that means. That means we want your comments, your questions. We want to, especially tonight, if you have questions, please ask. We want you to engage in the show, and that just helps the show be better.
Yes, indeed. So, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch right now, and you could be watching on the Fat and Black page, or you could be watching on the Murphy's Inc. page, because we're on both right now. You can throw those comments. We can see them all. If we think it's interesting, we might even throw it up to share with those millions
and millions
watching around the world. Speaking of, have you ever watched the Pat McAfee show?
I've seen clips of the Pat McAfee show.
So I found it kind of interesting. He just this last week received a cease and desist from the NFL. He is no longer allowed to, and we're so small, I'm not worried about it. Maybe we'll get a cease and desist at some point, but he is no longer allowed to say NFL. He is no longer allowed to call the NFL team names by their team names. He can say the Chicago Football Club.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's paid millions and millions of dollars to use like replay stuff to show on his show.
Yeah.
They've basically said we don't want you talking about us, more or less.
He used to play for you guys.
Well, he played for the
Colts.
NFL Players Association.
Yeah.
You got to remember he didn't play for the NFL, so he played in the NFL.
Oh, he played in the NFL, but yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. I know. Show the folks what you're wearing today.
Oh, boom. Wakanda forever.
And I'm guessing, did you happen to go see the film?
Oh yeah. It was a great film. If you have not seen this film, go out and see it because it's amazing.
Yes, I saw it opening day. I enjoyed it very much. I think it was better than the first one, frankly. And I'm not going to give anything away right now. We've got too many other pressing matters to discuss.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. So you guys got an extra week to go see the film.
Yes. So for the millions of you out there watching that are at a fever pitch typing in whatever it is you're going to say to us about this movie, we're not going to talk about it right now. James, what are you drinking there?
Oh, I just got some Brisk IT, the strawberry melon.
Brisk IT, huh? Well, I've got some Italian Ice by Seagram. So
yeah, it's both pink tonight.
Well, I've got the whole gambit. I pulled out red, white, and blue. So this is going to be a 3-drink.
Wait, you still got that case?
Yeah, man. Well, no, this is my second case. I finished the first case off.
Oh, I was about to say, bro.
But they're so delicious. So just to set up a little bit. So tonight we're going to be talking about Murphy's Inc. And why are we talking about Murphy's Inc?
Well, funny thing is, that show's about to start airing.
Yeah. So episode 1, which we have been working on. Well, I have been working on since January. The writers and creators started back in like December. So almost a year of work on this show. And it is finally going to air.
It's all come to fruition.
And as a matter of fact, it's going to air on a radio station,
what?
KNVC 95.1, Carson Valley Community Radio. And we actually have someone from KNVC who's going to be here tonight to join us. But he is also a freaking wizard, man.
Bro.
This guy, I've known him for a while, and I met him while working on Secrets of Heritage House. And you've listened to it, you've been a part of it, and
Yeah.
I've always respected and enjoyed the work that the man has done. And I told him that when I pitched him to come work on Murphy's, was you know, I, and I don't blow smoke. You know me; I'm pretty straight
No.
up. I said, I don't think you've been appreciated necessarily for the work that you do because you do some damn good work. Um, and so luckily we were able to get him to come work on Murphy's Inc.
Yeah.
And that's Mr. Joe Bly. We'll bring him in just a minute, let him
Yeah.
introduce and talk about the man is a freaking wizard.
Bro.
And
Genius out
when
here.
you hear this series, we have the advantage, right? He did, whatever 532 episodes of Secrets of Harridge House, where he went from I think it seems like almost zero database of sound effects and everything to where
Plethora.
we reap the benefit of the experience he had working on those 1,375,000 episodes. It was just a show that would never end, right? And so we reap that benefit. Now, not only do we have a Mr. Joe Bly joining us tonight,
Who else we got?
we've got the incomparable Terra of the Eons joining us, a lead writer and producer on Murphy's Inc.
Who else?
Who we've had on the show before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so it's great to bring Tara back, and we may have the other writer, Austin.
His internet works.
Yeah, he's not here right now. He was here earlier, but
Yeah.
he's been evidently having a lot of internet issues. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. But
Come on,
I
man.
think let's set up bringing them in with the only way that you really can, which is
Oh yeah.
the intro theme music
Let's do
to
it.
Murphy's Inc.
Do it.
Welcome back. We've got Tara of the Eons joining us and Joe Bly. Welcome to the show, folks. How
Oh
are we
my
doing
God.
tonight?
It's me.
Fantastic. I feel like I need to make an entrance with a white shirt, skinny tie,
Yeah.
smoking jacket, just with that theme music.
Oh
Yeah. It gets me hype every time. Every time.
Well, and I think we've all now at this point listened to this music so much that it's like I'll be driving in my car, right, and I'll be going to work or going to the grocery store or something, and it's just going through my head. I'm not even listening to anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
So
And,
Same
yeah,
here.
and I sit there and I wonder, what's that? Da, 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 what is that? What song? Oh, wait. Yeah. Theme song. Yeah. Same thing. I'll be driving just sort of, and it just pops into my head for no reason.
yeah.
Definitely.
But
So
we're hoping that Murphy's Inc. will, in general, will pop into people's heads, just driving down the road and they'll just kind of chuckle and say, oh, yeah, that scene. That was a fun scene. So
that would be nice. And we've aired one scene from the show already on here. We did an early rough of the hallway scene.
with
with
the car?
intern 1 and intern 2.
Yeah, with the interns driving down, and we've got Daphne, Jenny Hilton, checking in. Hi, Tara.
Hi.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Jenny.
Tried
I'm
to
waving.
convince
You can't see it.
her to come on tonight, but yeah.
No go. No
Didn't
no
happen.
go.
So let's just go around the horn. It's not a big horn. Let's start with Tara, and Tara, just tell us who you are and your involvement in the show, what else you've done, and you know, any initial thoughts on where you think things are with it.
Basically, reintroduce yourself.
I'm a weirdo on the internet who's been working on Murphy's Inc. for over a year, or almost a year, and I'm also trying to get like a comic off the ground, but that's for another day. And I don't know, man. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. That's about it.
Fair enough. Joe, this is your first time on the show, so I expect a better self-introduction than Tara's just now. Tara has the excuse of having been on before, but
Right.
for our audience, they don't know who you are. So please tell them.
Oh, I wish I had a drum roll sound effect. No. Presenting the magnificent, the fantabulous. Yeah. Well, my name's Joe Fly. I'm the program director at KNVC, not BC. People get that confused a lot. But boy, it sure opens doors when I say, yeah, I work for KNVC, and people who sell us stuff, they think I work for KNBC, and for some reason, I get really great service. I am the program director there. And I am also the sound designer for Murphy's Inc. and for Secrets of Harridge House. I do editing for other radio shows that are syndicated nationally. But I will say that editing the audio dramas is the most fun. I mean, there are times I go to bed really late, or I should say early in the morning, but this is just fantastic work. I really like working with this team. The scripts, I've read every script, and I'm kind of drooling over the opportunity to actually bring these to life. The actors are great. And I'm looking forward to season 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, season 37. And
Hold on, this is not Secrets of Harridge House. We're not going that long. So you mentioned Secrets of Harridge House, and you were involved there, and James and I have both talked about our involvement, but I think it's good for the people out there to know that there are other people involved. So, from your perspective, you were involved with Harridge House from its
inception.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about it. Let's give Harridge House its fair due a little bit.
Well, it started during the pandemic, as a lot of really ingenious projects started during the pandemic, because everyone's bored. Everyone's locked in, and you have all these actors that are wanting to do something. You have all these producers and directors and, well, sound people that are really eager to do something. And I just, in passing, mentioned it to Scott Young. It's like, it would be great if we did sort of home-based audio drama, community theater on a worldwide scale. And that's what happened. When we had actors in Australia, we had actors in Portugal, Scotland, England, Canada, and of course, US. But everyone just kind of came together to put this project. To put this project up. It was going to just be a single season, and oh yeah, we'll just do a few episodes. It'll be fun, and then it kind of grew legs, and it became very much an homage to the sort of the horror soap opera Dark Shadows. Those of you old enough like me to remember Dark Shadows, running home from elementary school and pulling up in front of the TV, you watch the Flintstones and then Dark Shadows after that. Yeah, it was great. So this turned into an homage to Dark Shadows. So it's kind of a creepy, supernatural, psychological mystery where there is so much killing, death.
There is quite a bit.
And so many ingenious ways to kill a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are fragile. Yeah.
And and ghosts wind up killing a lot of people. It's like, Oh, wow. Okay. This
Yeah.
ghost will, okay. Another ghost killing. Okay. Um, and, and we learned a lot doing that because with audio drama in the before times, you go to a recording studio and you set up with all your actors and you schedule the actors and everyone comes in, uses the same set of mics in the same studio, so audio quality is really good and consistent. But when you're recording from home,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tell them. Speak on it.
when you're recording from home and and someone has just their computer mic, like they open their laptop and start talking into their computer, versus someone who has, a Neumann microphone in a home studio booth with an Apollo interface. And so that's kind of the gamut of what the sound covered. I mean, so we'd be bringing these people in. And so the first few episodes, maybe 6 episodes, you can definitely hear incremental increases in quality because we were blowing our budget buying microphones for actors that didn't have not even a high quality mic, but just
A
a
good, a
better
decent,
mic than
yeah.
just a gaming headset or like, where people pick up that little bud on the wire and they talk into the little earbud wart on the wire. And
Oh yeah.
yes, I'm
Oh
going to record.
no.
It's like,
No, you're not.
nope, nope.
Not today.
Not on this show.
But we started off a lot of my work. Um, it's all theoretical at first because we deal with decent microphones most of the time. But after somebody's submitting their audio over a computer microphone, you learn a lot about how to fix things in post. And even then, we really went out on a branch to try to get all this audio sounding better. I brought in some really high-end engineers. Um, yeah, is there any way to fix this? And they'd just write back, no.
Garbage in, garbage out, right? And there's only so much you can do.
Exactly. You can always subtract, but it's really hard to add.
Mhm.
Something that isn't there, you're trying to add quality that's not there. It's like, I'm really good at making people sound terrible. Like if they're on a, let me, I should probably
Okay.
clarify that. Let me clarify that. So they come in with a really good mic, but they need to sound like they're on a phone or they're at the other end of a like an air conditioning register in another part of the house where someone's listening on the air conditioning register to a conversation. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff I love doing because I came out of a theater background, and so I'm very visual because I can see the actors, and in audio drama, I can see the actors moving around. If
Yeah.
I was to see, in other words, if Jenny were to pop in, she's the voice actor that plays Daphne in Murphy's. I have an image of Daphne just based on her voice. I have no idea what she looks like, but I have this image. And if she were to pop up on screen, it would be like, you're not Daphne. So I play with the images in my head, like where are they standing? And what's really handy is Tara sent me a spreadsheet with all the scenes and said, this room has a tile floor. It has display cases, a big desk. The Murphy is wearing these kind of clothes. The interns are wearing these kind of clothes. And that was so handy because it just instantly kind of fleshed out the scene in my head. So all I had to do was sit down, and call up the reverbs and say, okay, tiled floor, let's do this kind of a reverb. And then when you're doing the Foley for the footsteps, you know, Murphy comes, stomping in high heels, all mad at the engineer, um, for, you know, I can't, no spoilers, no spoilers. Just say
Yeah.
there is drama,
Abound.
about things and stuff.
Yeah.
And she strides into her office, which has, a really nice terracotta tile floor, imported from Italy and imported from the 13th century in Italy. And so,
Imported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, she comes striding in those high heels, and so there's a specific sound, and I do the Foley with that. It's like high heel, high heel, high heel, tack, 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 tack. She's mad, tack, 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 tack. So, it's grand fun. This is so much fun, and I think the audience, when they listen, are really going to get hooked into this because the script writing it's perfect. It starts off with an arc. There's very little, what's the word I'm looking for? There's very
Preamble?
little exposition. In
Yeah.
other words, the exposition unfolds while the story arc begins. And yeah, exactly. It just kind of opens up like this immediately.
And going back to, Secrets of Heritage House, for example, we've talked about it here on this show. The first 6 episodes, while rough audio wise, also rough script wise. If you get past the first 6 episodes, and you're still listening, you're probably hooked because it's good. It's hard to get through those first 6, where I agree with this show. Our first season is only 6 episodes. And so we had to, boom, let's go.
Yeah. Well, Secrets of Harwich House is very gothic. And so that's one of the, if you're into like H.P. Lovecraft or Byron or any of these great romantic era authors and poets, where it really does build, or Robert Browning would be a good one too, where it just, it just starts off and then all of a sudden, whoop, it really builds fast from there. And the fact that we had how many actors in Harwich House?
50 plus.
50
I was
plus?
about to say a lot.
There were a lot. There were a lot of voices in Harwich House.
Man, I didn't realize that.
So we needed that exposition to set the scene, to bring all these different voices in, so we didn't have to spend time doing exposition again. So I think the expository period in Secrets of Harwich House, it was kind of crucial to set the scene because the scene was so big and it covered, decades and decades. I mean, just that whole, you had to know the backstory to know the current story kind of a thing. And so it was definitely a different approach. And I loved working on Harwich House because it was I mean, I've never worked with so many different actors in different recording environments. And the I don't know what that was. And the recording environments were so different, and trying to match, and we got pretty good at it. And we could churn out a show a week just based on what we already knew. And Murphy's, I'm enjoying taking a little bit of extra time. I mean, we have 1 pretty much in the can, 2 is getting ready to be canned. Put in the can, I should say. And 3 is exactly. 3 is still in like final rough draft. There's 4, and I'm enjoying taking the time to work on it because I'll listen to something and it's like, yeah, no, let's just tweak that. I mean, we're still tossing ideas back and forth about episode 1, where it's like, hey, what if we had airport sounds? And it's like, that's what if? And it's like, yeah, no. And so
Well,
it's
and
still,
I'll own that. That was me. Like as the last time I'm listening to it, I'm like, I wonder, do we need it? I don't. And I emailed Joe, and I'm like, I don't know. This is a fleeting thought. What do you think? And I wasn't sold. I didn't sell myself on it. And then when Joe came back and was like, yeah, no, and I was like, okay.
Joe knows.
yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many fun things that we can do with Murphy's. We have a unique, I will say that the concept, I mean, when people hear the concept, um, it's like, oh yeah, this is like such and such a TV show or that TV show. The concept has been done before, but when it's done in sort of a underworld crime drama kind of same way,
Yeah.
um, I mean, there are
Changes
times
it up.
when Murphy just basically comes out and says, "All right, guys, if you screw this up, yeah, wouldn't want to be you. Cement shoes,
Might not
yeah.
end well for you.
Yeah.
Cement shoes feeding the fishes. That's a very nice looking thing you got there. Be a
Well,
shame if anything happened to it."
Yeah. See.
Well, and that was one of the things that for me, when I saw the original casting call, and this was before I knew anything about it, I didn't know who was involved or anything. The only thing it said was a time traveling heist company. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That caught my interest because there are tons of time traveling shows out there. But one where it's nefarious, it's intentional, like I'm gonna go back and find the
stealing
Ark
stuff.
of the Covenant and
Profit off of it. Like yeah.
yeah, like that's okay. I recently watched all of Breaking Bad, which I had never watched before, and that to me is so ingenious. Like to take, the concept of this hero kind of character that you would think, but he's actually a terribly bad guy. Like he's
Yeah.
it's so well done, and like I feel that and Tara, let's bring you into the conversation a bit. Like you are one of the lead writers. This season 1, between
Yeah.
you and Austin, y'all wrote it. Tell us,
Yeah.
tell us your experience of working, with Austin, who I guess isn't coming back, and and how did this show kind of develop? Because there was the elevator pitch by the creator, Chan, the creator.
Yeah.
And I've read that elevator pitch, and I get how the show came to be from that, but if you just read the elevator pitch, you wouldn't necessarily get to
Yeah.
where we are today.
Yeah. Yeah. So Chan definitely like put the building blocks there, but it was a lot of like us as a group, like me, Austin, me, him, and this other chick named Julia who was there at the beginning, and we were just kind of like throwing ideas back and forth. And Chan had ideas, but like I hate to be that person, but I was like, Chan, that's not gonna work. Like we gotta step it up. We gotta change a little bit, and it just kind of like slowly. We just kept incorporating new elements and going like, okay, well, what if there's a time cop who's trying to stop him? And like, it's like, well, that's a little cheesy. And, it was just kind of natural. We just sat up all night, for weeks at a time, sometimes just like trying to piece this thing together. And I think it really came out, it like you guys were saying, it's an idea that's been done, but we put our own spin on it to the point where I think it'll be novel enough for the audience to really fall into this world, and go on this adventure with us.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting take, and I think we're not going to give away any spoilers, but season
Yeah.
1 is 6 episodes, and it's an entire arc where we're already talking about season 2, and within season 2 there's going to be multiple different arcs. There's going to be multiple different time periods.
Yep.
But
We're
season
really
1
expanding. Yeah,
It's getting
season
crazy.
1 is focused. It's like laser focused on telling one story, and it's really I think the one thing I like about it is that it's a setup season
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
because
set up.
and especially with where we are today, like collaboratively and creatively, we have a roadmap for 4 seasons right now. And it's all derived from that elevator pitch from these original conversations that the
Mhm.
four of you had. How do you feel, because you're the only one here that can really speak to it because you've been here since the beginning. How does it feel to now, we officially declared today that episode 1 is done, finalized,
Yeah.
boom. How does that feel?
Um, honestly, it's kind of like a huge weight off of my shoulders, and just because the production for season 1 was a little bit cursed. We've had a lot of setbacks, a lot of stumbling blocks, and for it to finally be coming out. I mean, we were supposed to have this. We were thinking, oh, we'll have this out by like June or something like that, like May or June. And here we are in November.
March was what
March. I'm sorry,
was the
March. Even crazier. But now it's November, and it's like, okay, well, at least it's finally happening. I'd rather it be late and really well done than early and just kind of like sloppy.
Yeah, no,
It's a learning curve, not a curse.
For sure. Okay, yeah, that's a better way to think about it.
Well,
Joe
and
Bly.
and well, and the funny part is if you go back online to Reddit and you read Chan's original post on Reddit about wanting to create something, he lays out this timeline that is absolutely ludicrous. There's no, and many people responded and saying, yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not going to.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. There was no way. I mean, when I came into the show in January, and uh, I was given the original proposition of trying to get the show to air in March, right when Secrets of Heritage House was going into its like mid-season break or whatever. I was like, what? Like we didn't even have episode 1 fully written. I was like, we can do auditions and we can cast people,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there is no way this is going to happen. And
Big Man's theme song. No chance.
no chance in hell.
Exactly.
Well, and that's where I said, I kind of said, and I said, I don't put my name on crap.
Right.
I would rather we take our time, get the right people in the right places, and do this thing right. And we're not up against the clock. We don't have to air by a certain time or certain date. Just like as we were coming closer to the end of the year here, I said either we're going to air all 6 this year or we're going to wait until January and start, because
right.
yeah, I didn't want to rush it. And Joe, you can speak to this. You and I had a conversation a little while ago, and I said, is this feasible? Can we do it? If we can't, that's fine, because I want to do it right. And you freaking wizard, man.
I tell everyone I meet, Joe Bly is a wizard. He gets it done.
Rich and famous. Okay, no, wait, neither. Okay, that's
not yet.
Neither rich nor famous.
Not yet.
You're a wizard, Joe.
Oh.
Rich in spirit.
You've got the white hair to go for the wizard look, so
There you go.
Just
we're on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And a mute microphone shaped scar on my forehead.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So, Joe, one of the biggest differences for you between Heritage House and this show was on Heritage House, you were 100% involved in all aspects of the audio recording. You were there for every recording session. You were there involved with all of the original assembly and then the SFX and music and everything.
Yeah.
Where here, I ran the recording sessions. Terrace did the first assemblies, and then you had your piece on the end. How was that for you from that kind of experience?
So much easier, because the recordings, as you well know now, take time.
Yeah,
I mean, you sit back, you're listening, and of course, we can't listen to the full quality recording when we're recording.
right.
I guess we can announce we use Zencaster as our backbone for recording high quality material. So that way we don't have to do a double ender where everyone has basically a a recording device that they're speaking into while we're on Zoom or something like that, and then they send their recordings in. That's a lot of work, but that's still how a lot of podcasts do it.
Yep.
But Zencaster has a VoIP, which is kind of like Zoom. It's recording high quality in the background, but everyone can hear each other over a Zoom type connection. It's low quality, it's really compressed. The low end is cut off, the high end is cut off. And so it wound up, to use a Nevada term, kind of a crapshoot. When you're listening, you're like, yeah, they sound okay. And then you get the final recording, and we're dropping it into the template on Pro Tools, and it's oh
Yeah.
no, that doesn't work. Can I overnight them a microphone and we'll redo it? We have check the watch. We have 45 hours before it has to be on the air. We need to re-record them now. So there was some nail-biting moments where we were down literally to the wire, where I was uploading the show with 15 minutes before it hits the air, kind of a thing.
Wow, that's crazy.
And because I will say that for the most part, the production team with Secrets of Harwich House were also interested in keeping it as good a quality as we can, considering our limitations of people working from home. And so we would have people sitting in their clothes closets. We would have people literally building pillow forts out of the sofa cushions in their living rooms and sitting down with their laptop inside this pillow fort with a blanket, kind of holding everything together. Another actor didn't have a windscreen on their microphone. And so she just kind of stuck an athletic sock on her microphone. So it's like this very, it looked like a sad elephant, just kind of this. And so we improvised a lot, and it was technically challenging. Everybody's room sounded different.
You can hear it. the first
those first few episodes, it's like, then everyone started getting better mics. People started moving into their closets. They started building pillow forts. Other people would go down into the basement and just have a whole sort of harem room of blankets and tapestries and stuff hanging all around them. And it worked. To some extent, it worked. It was a lot easier to match. And that made our production a lot easier. But when you're dealing with 50 some odd actors, you could well imagine the size of the template in the audio workstation. I was dealing with 120 tracks at any given time. Yeah, grand fun. But I said that sarcastically. No, it was fun. I mean, if you're a audio nerd and a geek, it's a challenge, and I do love the challenges. And Tara is, diving in wholeheartedly into the assembly.
Apprentice.
And you can identify that, when you're starting to put the stuff together and you're listening to 5 different takes of someone saying a line, and you're just kind of going, oh, yeah, I don't know which one to use.
Yeah, it's either, these are all pretty good, or oh no, can we get a retake?
Yep.
Can we get a reshoot?
Yeah.
Or you start piecing them together. It's like, I like this sentence, but let's pair it with that sentence. Oh yeah, it's a lot
That's
of
my
work.
favorite part, when you start stitching them together and it really comes out like something that sounds so natural, like it was one take, and you're like, oh man, hey, we got something there. Hold on.
You're hooked. You're hooked.
Yeah. When it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's great.
Exactly.
When you lose episode 5,
when you lose
because
an
of a
entire
data error.
episode, yeah, it's like, oh my god, my life.
Hope you remember what you put in there.
Yeah, that was a terrible email to get. So I have this file, but no audio. It's like, uh-oh.
I was like, we're in a bit of a crisis.
I mean, the nice part, it's a double-edged blade, right? Because yeah, it's crunch time, but the nice thing is we have, 4 episodes to air before we get to 5. At least it wasn't like episode 1 or 2 when this happened.
Yeah, and then we're just like pushing it back even more. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant fear of mine. It's like, because hard drive failure, it's never if, it's when.
Just win.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I only use solid state drives for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some here soon.
Yeah, because I've had too many fail over the years that it's like, okay, anything that's important is going on to the solid state now.
Yeah.
It's expensive to do solid state, but oh my gosh, it's a dream because it's instantaneous compared to a regular hard drive. And then there's on-site backup, off-site backup. There's immutable backup, switching hard drives back and forth to a safe deposit box. Yeah, I do all that just so that, maybe I'll lose today's work, but I definitely have yesterday's. So
definitely. Definitely.
So James, having been involved with Heritage House in the role that you had, which you didn't have a lot of involvement, but you did get to work with Joe over there at that capacity.
Yeah.
Speak to your experience working with Joe and
be kind.
Well, and obviously there's a difference, right? You worked with him as an actor over there, where here you're working as both an actor and a producer,
Right.
And having a lot more engagement and involvement with how the outcome results, and
Right.
speak to some of that.
No, I mean, like when we first did the recording, for some reason, my old laptop, it was starting to go out for some reason. So like there was this, I wasn't hearing it, but they were hearing this like kind of whirling sound or something. So
yeah, it was weird.
yeah, and so I was like, I'm not hearing anything, and like they were hearing it, and Joe was like, okay, well, we could probably work with it. I'll just make sure there's like some kind of oscillating fan or something in the background, and we'll figure it out. And then when then I got the message saying, yeah, that's not gonna work at all. It's not there. So I mean, we actually went back in. Actually, Mark, myself, and Scott went back in. We figured it out and we recorded. And because otherwise, it was gonna, if I couldn't get it fixed, I was like, look, if it can get done, cool. If it can't, I have no problem with you finding somebody else that can do it with a mic that's fine. But we were able to get it in and make it work. And then this man just worked his magic. Because I mean, it's funny it's really funny when you hear it, you've done it. There was no sound, no audio, no Foley or anything like that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden when you hear it, and it's like, yo, that's it right there. That's exactly it.
Yeah, speak to that with episode 1, right? Because we go from the first rough draft and even pre-rough draft, right? And,
right.
And so
no audio. Yeah. So basically, when we just get the main, just all the audio together, right? And there's no sound effects. There's nothing. It's basically it's just a bunch of words being said. And I mean, there's some inflection and things like that. There's acting involved, of course, but then like once it got handed over to Joe, I'm telling you, like when it comes back, it's a totally different beast. It's like then you have like he's talking about earlier. He's figuring out what the floor is like that they're walking on, because each floors have different sounds. If you've ever just kind of paid attention, floors have different sounds. What kind of shoes they're wearing, it has different sounds on those floors.
The echoes and the
echoes you're in a room and there's echoes and I mean, you've probably seen my notes on this, and I am me and echoes. I was just like, I do not understand why there's so many echoes. But like there was just so many things like that he added to it, and it just helped build it builds the picture. You can hear it 100 different times. And it's like, okay, that's good. But then when you add those sound effects and you add and you just add little things here and there, like like in the background you hear birds chirping and stuff like that. It visually, you're not seeing anything. Audibly, you see the entire picture. And he does an amazing job at that. Like I did one episode of Secrets of Heritage House, which was part of the prequels in their last season. And I'm telling you, like, he has cars pulling up to the, on a gravel road. Like, and then, people getting out onto that gravel, closing doors, walking on this gravel, coming up the house, knocking on doors. It's like depending on is it a screen door? Cool. So they're opening up a screen door and you hear it close behind them and they're walking on these floors. It's just like he takes painstaking time to put these things together.
And a lot of it
literally paints a picture.
And a lot of it is purely creative because with Murphy's, for example, episode 1, we start off, and I don't want to give anything away, but we start off with a person kind of doing an opening narration, if you will.
Mhm.
And nowhere in the script did we put specifics as to what is happening. And Joe, in his creative mind, took it in a direction where I sat there and I listened to the first draft of that opening scene and I'm like, that is exactly what I think I wanted. But we never said it.
We never said it, but it just fits so well. It was like, yes, that has to stay. Like, there's nothing else that.
No. I mean, that's the thing, right, and that's the great part, especially with this show is being, he's so collaborative, and that so like we all, I mean, we're all hearing different things, and so we're writing them down and then sending them over. And and then he's like, okay, so he'll bring stuff down, he'll make like levels adjusted, and then he sends it back rather quickly. I think so. Tell me if I'm wrong. Once you actually have kind of the audio in there, it's easier to adjust it at that point. Like if you have to bring stuff down a little bit or take it up a little bit, it's already in there, so we can say, okay, like this is good, but just these levels need to come down or whatever. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's easy enough to do.
That is exactly what I do. I use a keyboard where, all the sound effects kind of, I wonder if I can do this.
Oh, snap.
Oh, nice.
So there's this, there we go. Wait, no, stop.
While Joe's rearranging his camera, for those of you out there, the millions and millions that are watching around the world, please feel free to type in your comments, questions, should you have them for Joe about audio engineering, or Tara about writing, or about Murphy's Inc. in general. We'll be happy to answer.
Yeah.
As long as we don't give away the show.
Right.
Yeah. So my keyboard, when you say I need this level adjusted, I'll highlight that section and I'll play it through a few times. Then I'll play it through on a different set of speakers a few times. I'll switch headsets and listen. So basically I listen multiple situations, and then I'll reach over to the fader on that track and just kind of go, just pull it down just a hair. And it's like, listen to all those speakers again, listen to the different headphones. It's like, okay, yeah, that works. But the reverbs, when I was first mixing, if anyone was, if anyone's interested in like, oh, I want to be able to do that. The secret is you first listen to your mix in mono. So in your audio workstation, whether you're using Pro Tools, Reaper, or whatever, you click mono in your master track, listen to it in mono, because all of a sudden masking issues just jump out. And it's like, oh, and then you have to go and kind of leverage, background noise to the side, make a little hole in the EQ where the voice is. And then when you're happy with that, you mix it to stereo again and you record it and go out to your car and drive around. And
The man's teaching
is
a
the
master
core
class right
stuff.
now, people.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Joe's getting a lot of love right now. We have Tyrus checking in. I don't even recognize my voice in Secrets of Heritage House. Joe's work is amazing, and how he did it sounded simple, but what he delivered was so complex.
Yeah,
And we've got
Thank you for the
Kathy.
ego buff.
yeah,
Can't wait to hear us. Joe rocks.
yeah,
Kathy,
Oh,
also who worked on Secrets of
thank you.
Heritage House.
Wow. Thank you.
yeah.
Lavish praise.
Yeah, actually, in Secrets of Heritage House, I mean, I can give spoilers for that because it's been out for a while. Like Tyrus and Jenny, who plays Daphne in, just so you know, Tyrus is also in Murphy's. A
Mhm,
little
he's the sailor.
spoiler: he plays a sailor,
Mhm.
and then there's Jenny, who plays Daphne, who is one of the underworld type people who goes out and collects things. They were the voice of this Lovecraftian horror, an ancient demon spawn from the very depths of hell itself. And so it
Sounds
was
like
so
my
much fun
ex-wife.
because they were both the demons. So I got to overlay, and then I used ADR software to exactly match their voices timing wise.
Mhm.
And then I ran it through a sequential bunch of filters, and so they came out sounding like this. And it was so much fun, especially when the outtakes. I actually did a couple of outtakes where both Jenny and Tyrus were laughing so hard because Jenny's sitting there saying, "You puny humans, I will destroy you," and then she'd start laughing. And so
It's hard to take
Oh,
yourself
it's grand
seriously when
fun.
you're saying that stuff.
Yeah.
It sounded a lot better through the filter. You puny humans. You know,
Yeah.
but fortunately, knock on wood, so far we haven't had to do that in Murphy's. But you know,
Oh,
season
Tara,
2
Tara could
promises
set
more.
that up. You can.
I can make anything you want to see happen. I am a
One of-
god in this universe.
One of the abilities of being a lead writer is you can make that kind of crap happen, I
Oh.
suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and the great thing about an underworld time traveling syndicate is that the opportunities for story arcs are infinite. Just all these ideas. It's like where it's like just sort of tossing stuff out. It's like, oh yeah, we can have them go back to Pompeii. Ha! Oh wait,
Yeah.
or you just
Let
tossing
me write that
stuff
down
out.
real fast. Hold on.
Give this man ideas. Give an ideas. Hey, you know what though? I will say what's really cool too is now being in being involved in some of the meetings that they've had with the writing team for this show. It's now a team. You know, like
Yeah.
this first
Mhm.
season was literally just Tara and Austin, and they pumped out an amazing 6 scripts. And
So, Tara,
now
Tara,
Thank
can you
you,
speak
thank
to
you.
that? I mean, the going from 2-person writing team to now
what do we
you've
have
got
now?
7 writers
Oh.
underneath you and Austin.
Hold on. How many do we have? We have quite a few, 6 to 8, somewhere between there, and they're all pretty great. Honestly, I'm glad to be working with them. We've got some big personalities. We've got some history buffs. We've got some writers who've already done some other things. It's going to be interesting to see what this kind of like gumbo of people comes up with for the next season. But there will still be kind of a connective thread in Austin and I working on pretty much every episode in some capacity.
Oh. Tara, I have a question for you.
Yes.
The historical, obviously, when you're dealing with a time traveling syndicate of underworld people, you actually have to address historical accuracies. How have you been? Have you been like reaching out to historians of the particular periods that you're thinking about writing about?
Honestly, not specifically. So the writers of season 1 was just
Wikipedia.
us. Yeah, season 1 was just us kind of flying by the seat of our pants. See, season 2, so we had the writers pitch ideas that they wanted to write about, and so they are all relatively pretty knowledgeable in history. I mean, like their knowledge in history actually
Two
kind
of
of
them
blows me
actually
away.
are history majors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
that's
the other
handy.
one is very,
Yeah.
very knowledgeable. We have so they're like I'm kind of thinking of certain people as like leads of their arcs for season 2, just because of the amount of knowledge they have. They're kind of taking over it, the historical parts and they've got good ideas, but yeah, so they are our historians. Oh, sorry, they are our historians for the most part.
And we
And I
do
love
double
working with
check.
them.
We actually
yeah.
had an interesting conversation about one of the arcs because one of the newer writers made a comment of, well, hey, how are we going to address this in that time period? And it became a conversation because it needs to be addressed, but we don't necessarily have to like beat the audience over the head with it, but we have to at least tackle the issue because it existed.
Right.
And
All
so
of this without giving spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, yeah.
What time period are you talking about? Don't worry about it.
Not gonna say.
You don't need to know. Need to know only.
And that is one of the things that I've stressed is I do want to be historically accurate, but the nice thing is this is a fiction, so
hmm
we can be historically accurate to a point. Why, Joe, I don't know if you've ever heard of Assassin's Creed, but it's one of my favorite video game series.
I got them all.
Okay,
Nice.
well,
Oh, my man.
there we go. Well, it is an extremely Ubisoft does a fantastic job of making sure that they're historically accurate, but it's still a fiction,
Right.
and
Mhm.
it's fun to see how they do that, and that's
Made with
kind
a
of
diverse team
Yeah.
of races, religions, and yeah.
yeah. Unlike that piece of garbage game series God of War out there, where
Yo.
Oh,
Yo,
wow.
caution
You're
to
about
the
to
wind.
you're about to set
There's
Tyrus
some people
off.
out there. Yeah. You're about to get hate mail.
Assassin's Creed is historically accurate, and that's what I want to be here. The nice thing about dealing with time travel is we do have the ability to change history if we want to,
Mhm.
but for the most part, yeah, in season 1 we're dealing with a specific period of time with a specific group of people, and I think, if you go and read Wikipedia or
I'm sorry.
and Tyrus is telling me to die. Bullying.
Don't get yourself canceled, Tyrus.
Yeah. Not before the show comes out, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in season 1, we deal with a specific group of people in a period of
Mhm.
time, and I've gone and done some of the research myself, and there were points along the way where there was a reference to, and Tara, maybe you remember this conversation in one of the earlier scripts about a honeymoon, and
Oh, yeah.
I specifically said, well, this is what a honeymoon actually was at this time. Like, is this really how we want to address it? And so I think it's important that, I'm not a historian by any means, but that doesn't mean I can't do research.
Right.
But we do have the luxury now of having 2 history majors on the writing team that can
So
help
good.
us.
Yeah, and one's fairly new because
Yeah.
we pulled her from something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good,
And
that was
the
a good
interesting
connection to
thing
make.
is, with all the history references, you're dropping people with admittedly very little prior research into a time period, and people from in the near future get dropped into this time period. How do they interact with people? How do they learn how to and so I think that's part of the magic of Murphy's Inc. is how do our nefarious heroes interact with the people in the time period without giving away the game? And so
Yeah. And
uh,
that's something
it,
I
Very
think that's something that
carefully.
season 1 is very like kind of not focused on, but that's a big part of season 1 is like we're trying to go back in time and do this job while also not interfering with the timeline. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Trying to keep things as clean as possible. Get in, get out, and you know, it's always fun trying to find that balance. You know.
And I think one of the hilarious things that's happening now, and Tara, this isn't in any way a derogative, but the fact of the matter is, as season 1 was being written,
Yeah.
there wasn't a bigger picture, so to speak, necessarily.
Not at all.
And so there are things that, as we're going back and listening to these episodes as they're actually happening, we're like, oh yeah, we should probably play on that in season 2 or 3.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rather than, oh, hey, let's use this as a setup moment for the future. It just there are some moments that were written, and you listen to it and you're like, oh, what is that? What's going to happen there? And I've asked, there have been times where I've gone to Tara Ross and be like, hey, what was the intention here?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Or like
there
while
was,
I'm assembling,
there
I'm just
was
like,
none.
we should probably do
There's
something with this, right? Like
there was no foresight involved. It was just like, let's get this story done.
It was a self-contained little 6-episode arc that has spun wildly out of control, and I kind of love it. You know,
It's not so much
Well,
out of control; it just has a place to go.
Yeah,
We're just
legs.
along for the ride.
The problem was is that the little thread on the sweater got pulled, and now it's just a tube top.
Can't stop pulling. Cannot stop
So-
pulling it.
There is a sort of a, as they say, a subtweet here about what's going on with Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just going to let that fall out there
Yeah.
and sit uncomfortably in the middle of the room. Because it's like, what's wrong with Chicago? So yeah,
What?
there's something to
Chicago?
explore there.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, there is. I've been wondering the same thing, man.
If you want to get more information on that reference,
You better
gotta
listen to episode
Murphy's
1.
Inc. Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
so specifically, Joe, when is episode 1 airing?
Episode 1 airs on KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City's community radio, 9 o'clock Sunday, following Pop Culture Kaboom with your host, Jimmy Jones.
Nice.
Now, hold
Ever the
on.
professional.
My
Wait
man
a-
put it all out there, bro.
The
Wait.
professional.
Wait a minute, because I've got to ask, are you sure? Because, I'm on the KMVC webpage right now.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
Did
actually,
it not get published?
what I'm seeing here is at 9 o'clock following Pop Culture Kaboom is Secrets of Harridge House.
Oh,
yeah.
Yo, hey.
Yeah, because I need to change it in the Spinatron the back office, basically. Yeah, I need to change that.
Yeah, and on the main page, I don't see anything about our show.
Wow, you're calling him out right now.
I-
Wow.
I mean, this is 4 days from now. And as a matter of fact, James, I apologize. I neglected to mention this earlier. When we started this show
Mhm.
today at 8
Mhm.
p.m.,
Yeah.
this episode 1 was going to be starting in 97 hours.
Yo.
Oh, wow.
You know what that means? We got to play it, bro. We got to play it.
What do you mean we gotta play it? Oh,
The 97.
Hey,
Okay.
Had to get in there.
That was funny.
they always take over the show whenever he does that.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
We didn't do it last week, remember? That was we went a whole episode without it.
Because
So
we
I
were
had-
careful.
Yeah, I just had to.
But yes, I did
to
think it was
throw it out
important to
there.
call out that at 8 p.m. tonight, when
Mhm.
we started this episode, we were 97 hours away, which at this point, we're now less than 96 hours away from this.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, there is a countdown clock out there. I don't know if you've seen it.
Por qué?
No.
Oh, yeah, there is a countdown clock out there. Let me I'll pull it up here in just a moment. Maybe if I can find it again. Here we go. Here it is. Here it comes.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
3 days, 22 hours, 52 minutes, and 45 seconds.
3 days.
Suddenly I feel the pressure. Good God, I
Yeah.
feel the pressure now.
Man.
What's it's in the can. It's done. What's the pressure?
He's got to put it on there.
Right.
It's a Pavlov dog thing. It's like you're ringing the bell. I see the countdown timer and says, "Hey, oh."
This is why
Oh,
Joe's also involved in voice charactering. He's a voice actor on this show too.
Yes,
Let
and
me
we
tell
we
you.
actually we have neglected to mention that Joe is also voicing a character in
He
season
is.
1.
Yeah,
Character, a pivotal character.
we got him. We got him.
And yes, Joe is a character.
Listen, I love that laugh.
No, Joe is definitely a character.
Oh, for
If
sure.
you've ever, if it's for
if
some of
I-
the actors
oh,
out there,
oh,
if you've
oh.
ever had to be in an audition with this man, it's a treat.
Actually, my favorite character that I've heard Joe is actually in a Radio Story Hour episode that I directed, where he's actually playing a bird, a parrot.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
those
Joe's playing
were
the bird.
those were
Yes.
amazing.
Nice.
Like just being in there for his like readings were just like, oh, this is too good,
Nice.
too good.
All right, I
Yeah.
think
This guy.
I think we've beat Murphy to death. I think it's
No, she's still
Simon.
standing.
and I did want to take a moment. You know, we're all creative types, and I did want to take a moment just before we shut this thing down. We lost somebody this last week that is a fantastic voiceover actor,
Oh, yeah.
and is a huge loss to anybody that has ever been a fan of just about anything involving Batman
Oh,
for the
man.
last 20, 30 years. Kevin Conroy.
Oh.
Huge loss. My favorite Batman, period.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, and that includes all of the actors who have played Batman live. I think Kevin has
the
portrayed
best.
the best Batman.
Yeah, like
To this
I just went
day-
back. I went back and looked at all the stuff that he did as far as Batman goes, and I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much, if it was Batman, he was involved.
Oh, yeah.
Him and his Batman to Mark never be beat.
Yeah,
I mean-
to this day, that's the voice I hear when I read Batman comics.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I mean, like
Mhm.
he not only did the animated series, but like some of the video games, the Arkham Knight games he did.
those games are
the
amazing.
movies, and actually he came back because like there was I don't remember what it was. Mark Hamill was like, I will not do Joker unless Kevin is Batman. I won't do it.
Hmm.
And so they actually had to go get Kevin Conroy to play Batman. So Mark Hamill would play Joker for I think it was a film or one of their films. And man, when I heard this news, I was just scrolling through Twitter and I saw it and I was like, what?
Yeah,
This is, and I had to go to Google to double check, and I was just like, no, why?
And relatively young, 67.
I mean, and
yeah.
this is, I mean, if you grew up in the 90s and, you know, Saturday morning on Fox, the Batman animated series was the show, and he was so pivotal in all of that. I mean, he is a voice like I think Terry, you just said, when you read Batman comics, you still hear his voice, and
all day.
that's what he did. And so yeah, that was a heartbreak.
That was a stunning loss. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So from a group of voice actors and creatives to one of the best to, I think, have done it, especially over multiple mediums.
For decades.
Yeah. And the longevity, right? To me, he will forever be the Batman.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So, always hate, winding down and ending on a bit of a sad note, but I think
Hey,
when
but
we-
here's something good. Here's something good.
yeah.
In just a couple days, not Secrets of Heritage House, but Murphy's Inc. Get that changed, Joe.
According to the website, yeah.
Yeah, get that changed. But Murphy's Inc. will air. It will air actually twice. So it'll be on Sunday, then the following Friday, and then right after that, it's going to be uploaded onto our in our podcast form, so you can listen to it wherever you are. But there is
everywhere.
But the thing is that you can actually go and actually listen to it live on Sunday through the website for KNVC.
Yes, you can. If you don't have to be in the Carson Valley area to hear it live,
Yeah.
you can stream it online.
And absolutely. So make sure you're there, and make sure to be square.
History in the unmaking. Let me tell you.
And as you can see here, this is all set up, ready to go. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, TuneIn, iHeart, Player FM, Listen Notes, Samsung, and Podchaser.
Yeah.
And many others, of course, because a lot of the smaller ones pull from these as well. So
Yeah.
we're ready to go. We've got our teaser trailer up there. If you want to go check that out and give it a listen, if you haven't already.
We did play it on the show a couple weeks ago, so you can always go back and find that episode.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So it is happening. It is real, folks. This is no longer a drill. This is the real thing.
This is no longer a drill. We are at high alert.
Yeah.
Yes. 3 days, 22 hours, 45 minutes, and 50 seconds, Joe.
You know what we should start doing? We might have to. We'll figure it out. I think we're gonna have to start bringing some of the cast on, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
I
Because
think we're gonna have to bring some of the.
you
cast
and I
on.
are in the cast, but
Yeah, we already
nobody
here.
Joe is also in the cast.
We're
And
we're
Joe
always
is in the
here.
cast. Yes.
Yeah. So
Arg.
yeah. So I think we might have to start doing that.
Yeah.
I have reached out to the cast. Hopefully, someone will step up and say, "Hey, I want to do it." So
You
All
might
right.
have
we'll
a hard
see.
time getting Kirsty. She's probably out teleporting somewhere, but
She is magical after all.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, did we find that audio?
Yeah, I think we got it out there. Let me tell you, it was touch and go for a minute.
that was too funny. That was too funny.
So before we shut this thing down, Joe, any last minute thoughts to send the folks home with?
Well, the last minute thoughts I'm going to have is the website will be updated within about 5 minutes. I'm currently editing it while we speak. So it will, I just, lots to do at a radio station when you're the boss. And that slipped the radar there. So, yeah, tune in this Sunday at 9 o'clock. If you tune in at 6 o'clock p.m., you can listen to Jimmy Jones on Pop Culture Kaboom, where he discusses comics, games, movies, books. So if you're into pop culture, like I'm imagining most of your audience is, it's a good show. He has people calling in from like Hollywood. A couple of weeks ago, he was interviewing Dean Koontz on the air. It's
Nice.
he's definitely a mover and shaker in the pop culture world. So if you want to know about the latest cons in the area, tune in at 6. It's 3 hours of bad movie reviews and comics and all kinds of good stories.
So we should be
And-
expecting a call from him soon.
Yeah. Definitely
Actually,
should be.
yeah,
Yes.
I am actually going to drop a bug in his ear to do a little promo on his show before
Nice.
it airs up.
Crossover. Hey.
There we go. Yep.
Tara, you got any last minute thoughts? Anything?
Please watch this show. I've put so much of my life into this show. Please just watch it. It's good. It's not watching, just listen to it. It's really
Yeah,
good.
there you go. I was about to say.
Yeah.
You gotta
James?
Watch it in your head.
listen. I think we've talked about this show enough. So go listen.
Well, I've got one more thing to say about the show, and that is the title of episode 1.
Oh yeah.
For those of you that have stuck
'em
around,
know.
you get it. Episode
Let 'em
1
know.
is called You're New Here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Clever.
forgot about that.
So
Yeah.
yes, episode 1, you're new here, dropping Sunday, 9 p.m. Pacific to be
Yes.
specific. Stream it on the radio, or if you prefer, if you want to make a trip up to Carson City from wherever you might be,
Yeah,
come
go
on
for a
down.
cruise.
Or of course,
Yeah.
kmvc.org to stream live.
Yeah.
Where right now you could be listening to David Bowie chant of the ever circling skeletal family.
Is that a song?
Evidently,
That sounds
is-
really cool. I'm gonna have
that's
to go
what's
check that
live
out.
right now. So,
Yeah.
Hey,
uh,
Freeform
We're
Radio.
gonna
It's
AMVC real fast.
what
Yeah.
day is today? Wednesday. It's 9:00. We just finished with the Americana show. So yeah, we're into basically freeform rock and roll now.
Hey, there we go.
and if you wait till midnight, you'll get the overnight classical exploration from 12 to 5.
Hey.
That's right. What do we have?
It's go through his whole programming list right now.
I know, it's like,
I gotta plug the hell out of my station.
Make sure
man,
you listen to
doesn't
this show.
classical
get it in where you
jazz,
can.
blues. We're the only station probably in Nevada playing Zydeco and Cajun music, bluegrass music. The only
That's where I'm
thing we
from.
don't do is country music because a local country station asked us please not compete with them. So yeah, we like to play nice in the sandbox. So we don't do country, but we get pretty close with some Americana music. There's a punk on Saturdays. We have a really good alt show. One of our DJs moved up to Portland, Oregon, but he's still submitting remotely. So we have an alt show on Mondays.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. Well,
Tyra says I miss radio.
Well,
it doesn't
Tyrus,
miss
you know, there's a listen live button on the KNVC website.
There
Hint,
sure
hint, hint,
is.
hint.
Yeah, I'm about to head over there right now, honestly.
Tyrus used to be a DJ at what was the radio station at Ohlone College? I don't even remember.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
The
even,
microphone's always warmed up at KNVC. Just
There you go, Tyrus. You want to get back into it?
hey.
Sounds
Hey.
fun.
It's not paid, but hey.
We're an all volunteer community based radio station, but yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right.
I think it's time.
K-
Shut it
KOH
down.
KOHL, that was it.
Cole. That's right.
Oh, I thought that was a clothing store.
All right, Joe. Say goodnight. Say goodnight, Joe.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
3 days, 22 hours, 39 minutes, and 35 seconds. We'll see you real soon.